Hi guys, I've got Angry Dad here, and we're here to talk about PBM reform and why his name is Angry Dad.
Absolutely. And PBMs, if you don't know, are pharmacy benefit managers. And we have the top three who are in the Fortune 500 top 20 list. And they rank up there with like the Amazons and the Teslas. And they make as much money as the big boys. And they take it from you and your tax dollars.
Love that. Love that. So, what made you so angry, Dad?
Well, in January of 2024, I lost my 22-year-old son. Cole was his name, and he went into a pharmacy to fill his routine asthma medicine. It was an Advair discus. The night he went in there, it was the first, like I said, it's January 10th, new benefit year. And when he went up to the pharmacy counter, he was trying to fill his Advair and his albuterol rescue inhaler, both two asthma medicines, one you take every day and one that's there for emergencies. This was the purple disc. Used to be about $66 in 2023. When he walked into the pharmacy counter that night, it was over $500. It was like $539 to be exact.
Well, and he did what anyone our age would do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, from what we can surmise, and there was another person there, it was Cole's roommate. He said that Cole indicated he couldn't afford that, and he left. I mean, he chose rent over his medicine.
Well, and you just he probably figured his symptoms were managed just as you, but you experienced your first asthma attack in how long?
Oh, many years. I just had one this weekend actually, and I take my Advair twice a day, every day. And even doing that, I got well, and the weather changes. You can hear my voice a little bit too. I got a little hay fever going on, but Cole was managed just as well as I was, and it was a fast and furious decline though, because that was January 10th. 5 days later, he had a severe asthma attack that caused him to be rushed to the emergency room. He went unconscious on the way and showed up at the hospital with no pulse. 6 days after that, up and down with me and my wife, long and short of it, he passed away. And that was the worst thing ever, obviously. And we still really didn't even know what had happened. We knew that he didn't get his Advair. And so here, me and my wife are planning a celebration for our firstborn child at 22 years old, trying to get our heads wrapped around this. The one thing I haven't mentioned is that, well, other than I do have asthma, I have the same form of asthma and the same insurance as Cole.
The difference is you went to an independent pharmacy.
Yeah.
And he went to
a chain pharmacy. Yeah, I'm going to not name the chain yet, but he went to a chain pharmacy and I went to an independent pharmacy. With my wife actually was going to pick up my prescription, and when she walked into this independent pharmacy, it's a hometown pharmacy actually is what's the name. It's out of Wisconsin, a little small town. They have a couple of them around the state, and the pharmacist told my wife that mine wasn't covered anymore. She said, however, to my wife, and said, you can't leave till I get Bill something to breathe. So long and short of it, they were going through the process. And during that process, the pharmacist looked at my wife and said, literally, holy shit, I think I know what happened to Cole. And that was the fact that the pharmacist at the chain pharmacy didn't take the next step and make a simple phone call. And long and short of it, my wife walked out with something, and that even got deeper there because the medicine that I got forced to after my Advair wasn't covered wasn't even the right medicine. So I had to fight that too. But long and short of it, we figured out basically kind of what happened to Cole. And it turned out there was a non-medical switch at the formulary. There was no notice given, things like that. And me and my wife both made a true commitment that we're going to get justice for Cole and make sure this doesn't happen to anybody else.
Well, and I also want to tell people, how many lives did Cole save?
Well, Cole was an organ donor, and we were told 75 people got a positive outcome because of Cole's passing on when he donated his organs. So it's, Cole's legacy is going to live on forever. We're trying to do a lot to honor Cole, but we also know Cole stood up for the little guy. He was a quirky kid, but he stood up for the little guy. And you can infer what you want out of that. Did he get in trouble for speaking up? I'm not going to admit it, but long and short of it, he was a great kid. He honestly, he battled just like every person in this country through COVID and all that stuff. He had a lot of mental health issues, ADHD, depression, and he had overcome that. I mean, with right treatments and medications and the right things, he was living on his own. He was living his best life. That was the reality of it. Living with one of his roommates from high school, going out at nighttime, having fun, doing what 22-year-olds doing.
Gaming.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's his biggest thing. He was a gamer. He was on Twitch, and basically about 7 days a week from 6 to 11, you could find Cole or Melons on Twitch. So he had a gaming community. He had a few followers, and he was living his life, and he was living at large and making mom and dad very proud.
Well, and he still does,
Oh,
obviously.
100%.
When you first started, what did you know about PBMs?
I really knew nothing about a PBM. I didn't know what they were. I had no idea. I mean, it actually took, even after we found out what happened at my pharmacy, kind of explained it, I had to meet with somebody to really understand what was going on. I met with a pharmacy owner who
And the
opened the book.
independent pharmacy lost money filling your medication.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, so it was a Saturday. It was 12:45 p.m. and they closed at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I know the pharmacist working actually had like an engagement, a family event to go to. She didn't care. She stayed there until she got me something, knowing that she was going to probably lose money on what they were making me take, which happens on average. 40% of prescriptions filled at independents are below cost. And she knew that. So when she gave my wife the medicine and walked out, she had to stay late and she didn't get paid for doing what she did.
But she wasn't going to leave you without having your medication, which is the difference between these independent pharmacies versus these chain pharmacies.
Absolutely. I mean, like the personal care is still there. And why we're stressing the independent pharmacy is because of these PBMs and the games that are played. They're being shut down by deceptive mafia-like tactics, we'll say. They have to go into contracts that are automatically under reimbursed from cost. But if they don't want to be in the contract, they don't get the good side of the contract where they might be able to make some money. And those are given to them by the pharmacy benefit managers, the PBMs. And they say, if you don't like this, you don't get any of it.
But then if they don't sign it, they're not in network with any of the insurance companies and therefore losing patients. So it's literally standing wall to wall.
Yeah, well, think about this. If you're a small town pharmacy and you have a big tractor factory in your small town, if the big PBM comes in and says, you can't use the independent pharmacy anymore because we changed your health insurance, you have to use our online pharmacy. Now, there's no patients to go to that local pharmacy. Now, also in that same thing, if that little pharmacy in that town with the big tractor company doesn't like the contract or didn't want to take that contract because all those tractor company employees, whatever they'd sell, they'd lose money, then they get nothing. They get nothing. So they would get nothing. They had 500 employees, they wouldn't get any business. And I bring this truly up because the PBMs are accused of steering patients to their own pharmacies. And that's where PBMs have gotten crazy. I don't know.
We talk about this on
the vertical
yes.
integration. You know, there's a PBM out there that actually bought the healthcare company so they could become vertically integrated, believe it or not. Generally, the healthcare companies buy the PBMs or create them.
What could go wrong? I mean, you've got the insurance company vertically interlined with the pharmacy, then vertically interlined with the prescription benefit manager and the pharmacy what could go wrong?
It's a perfect thing. Oh, it sounds like a monopoly though, which it is. And here's the crazy thing. This ain't broken. It's designed. It's doing exactly how it's designed. The federal government, and I'm not saying that it was a negative thing. There were two instances in America. Back in like 2003, the Medicare Part D came out. Mm-hmm. And that was actually a good program to get more people better prescriptions, blah, blah, blah. Well, the big PBMs said, hey, you're going to be the biggest purchaser of drugs in the country, legal drugs, right, medication. Let's help you get the best deal so you can save the Americans so much money.
United we stand.
That's how it started. And then the PBMs go, great. One other thing we're going to need is the ability to get kickbacks, so we can help push these drug manufacturers to do what we want. And they got an approval from Congress to get kickbacks. Nobody gets kickbacks. It's against the law when you're on government contracts, except for the top. Well, I can't say nobody. generally the most people cannot get the kickbacks and operate under a government contract. Top pharmacy benefit managers can 100% because of congressional approval. So that's when it started. I mean, because PBMs in the beginning were pretty good things. They were necessary, and they are necessary. It's a big conglomerate world. There's a lot of patients, and we can't expect, like the arthritis where we're at today, we can't expect them to go and bill every patient individually and then get individual checks and all that kind of
But
stuff.
that's what the insurance companies expect of us. They
Yes.
expect our physicians to know what is covered in each patient's policy and prescribe that medication. Like Humira, for instance, huge biosimilar, like patent came up, biosimilars, insane. And they expect us to look up every person's policy and only prescribe that.
That's crazy. I mean, like it's just insane because even when you do that, you don't know if they switched the formulary. Now, let me talk about that. So we can clarify that formulary. So the formulary is what you're allowed to have for medication.
What your insurance company
Covers.
They're going to pay for.
So no, PBMs claim to save money. That's their big claim. We're going to save you money. That's why we manage these formularies this way. Well, you would think there's name brand and generic medication out there. Well, in the real world, mostly like generic items usually tend to be less than name brand. And sometimes, not all the time, generic medicine is identical to the real medicine.
Right.
I mean, it's identical. Now, there are some instances, don't get me wrong, but the name brand gets put on the formulary ahead of the generic, even though they're supposed to be saving money. But here's why that happens. So in 2013, there's a thing called the Affordable Care Act, another good program in theory, get more Americans health care. Well, the PBMs figured out a way to screw that up too and take money out of it. They told Congress, no problem, we can do this. However, we need to be able to make profit off our costs to cover us. So what that means, if it costs more, they make more, just as simple as that goes. But I mean, like if there's two surgeries, one is, let's say you need to get a knee replacement and hospital A is your normal hospital and they want to charge $6,000 for this knee replacement. Okay. But they're going to make you get a referral and they're going to refer you probably to their one of their preferred facilities. But guess what? Same level of treatment, but at their facility, it's $12,000, $6,000 more than what it would cost you at your local facility. They're going to make you go to their facility because guess what? If you make 20% of profit off what you spend, do you make more off of $6,000 or $12,000? You make more off the 12.
But they're going to word it to you as if we're charging more as an independent facility because they don't make as much money.
Correct. That's where this PBM game, these tactics are so deep. It's so deep because we sit and talk about why they're choosing this, and then you hear from behind the scenes. Well, yeah, really another layer to it is now too, they're not getting paid enough, or this is happening, or whatever. But reality is that they are enroped in this game, protected by the laws because it's not broken, it's working as built. But the mission that I'm on, Claudia's on, and I mean,
everyone, all of our
like we are two of many people out there speaking up, and we're building a grassroots effort across America. It's happening as we speak. And for example, I'm down 5 hours south of where I live. I live up in Wisconsin. I'm down in Missouri. I got to drive about 2 hours tomorrow, and I'll be with the Missouri Pharmacy Association trying to get PBM reform for the state of Missouri.
What does PBM reform look like for you?
So basically, some of the things we're going after for PBM or pharmacy benefit management reform, we want to stop the under reimbursement of independent pharmacies. That's some of the bills out there and the things across the country. Stopping the under reimbursement, making sure that the right medicine is always up front at the pharmacy counters, instead of this game of the rebates, and we actually put this one up here first. Oh, because
I'm talking about that, like the manufacturer's assistance that we talk about all the time, these copay accumulators, copay maximizers that can literally maximize the cost of your drug to whatever the allotted amount the manufacturer gives. and then drain your copay assistance, but none of that goes towards your out-of-pocket or deductible, which is crazy to me because if I were to go to you and borrow money and be like, I need this for my medication, it would go towards my out-of-pocket and deductible.
Yes. Yeah. And that's like, there's so many little games that are being played, but back to the generic and new. So what do the PBMs do now that they know that? Like I said, they put the name brand in head. Well, what they do is they tell the drug manufacturers, and don't get me wrong, the drug manufacturers in the day had plenty of sin, and they're not out the closet 100%, but at least they give us a return. They research and develop the medicine still. That's a big.
And then they also have to pay to get on the formulary.
Yeah, that's the big thing, because like if you have your generic in this, the PBMs tell them, well, hey, whoever gives me the most money, we'll put your drug first. Like that's the big game right there. That's why you get stuck using the more expensive stuff.
Or biosimilars. Like we've even talked about that, like Hadlima or Simlandi. Simlandi out of pocket $4,800. Hyromiz is like $1,438, and then I believe Humira is $1,800. Why is Simlandi the preferred medication if it's the most expensive?
Yeah.
They don't have the same like patient assistance, and it's more likely than not owned by one of these PBMs. If you dig deep enough.
Well, and like there's one of the bigger companies out there, OptumRx, is owned by United Healthcare. United Healthcare is one of the largest employers of physicians in America. They own the doctors.
Isn't that like terrifying? Like, okay, I have an insurance company. My doctor works for the insurance company, and my pharmacy works for the insurance company. What could go wrong?
Yeah, and here we go. This is what it is, and it is insane. It is really just insane. I mean, like they want all the money in the world, and like you said, they're in the Fortune 500 list. They're in the top 20.
$500 billion. $500 billion in a quarter.
Yeah, well, and think about that. $500 billion. That's more money than some small countries have. And 3 of our top medical providers, or the companies that provide our insurance and all the way down the chain to our prescriptions, are in the top 500. They're up there, like I said, with Amazon, with Tesla, or whoever. You think of these big companies, Apple. I mean, they're right up there. These are healthcare companies, and we are paying the bill.
Well, and it's like every single month we're paying our premium, right? But what does that premium even pay for? Because we still have our co-payments. We still have to meet our deductible. If you have to take an ambulance, there's not an ambulance you can find that's in network. As soon as you show them you have insurance, the cost goes skyrocketing. And PBM reform doesn't just hit pharmacies. It also hits independent private practices.
Well, I find it funny you brought up the ambulance thing. So I have another son. He's 18 now, but when he was born, after everything happened, he was born on Christmas, and it was we had to take an ambulance ride to the hospital. We'll say that. A couple months after that, I got a bill for like this was several years ago. First off, probably way more now. It was like $30,000 because I didn't, when I called 911, I didn't select the preferred ambulance service.
If you would have, they would have said none are in network.
And that's what I did. I said, well, could you give me a list of those so next time I have to call 911? And that's what they said. There is none. I said, well, then I'm not paying the bill. And I fought back a little bit, and they covered it. It's not always that easy, but that is one thing out of anything you can pick up here. Understand the pharmacy benefit managers are shady. That's a fact.
They use mafia tactics, which brings up something that just came out.
Well, as of today, if you go to my website, patientprotector.us, and you go to the homepage and just scroll down a little bit, there's a docu-series that I got produced, and it's now the first episode's released.
It's $3 that goes towards a good cause, and it's going through everything that we're talking about now.
It's called The Modern Medical Mafia. It's an hour and 43 minutes that will change your life. This will give you the full explanation of where the PBMs, where they started, what they're acting like right now. And this is only the first episode. We got at least 4 more coming after this. We have our producers have tons of video from patients and legislators and doctors' offices that are spilling the beans, if you want to say.
Well, and you've experienced people fearful for retaliation that want to remain unnamed.
Oh yeah, we had people that helped support the docuseries that are 100% anonymous, because if a PBM finds out that you're doing anything like that, they have their ways to come back and get you.
They'll retaliate.
They'll claw back at you. They'll charge you back. They'll go do audits on your stuff that they would never check.
Oh my God, you would not believe the number of audits we've gotten.
Well, and that's, I mean, honestly, why did they get a lot of audits here? Right here, because she's speaking up and she's not talking wrong. She's exposing, but their way to shut you up is shut you down. And I know a pharmacy owner who fought vigilantly for PBM reform in a state. And when it was all concluded, everything was looking good. They had tons of co-sponsors, tons of them.
Oh my gosh, was this HR 9096?
Well, there's that one too. This one was about, this is what happened in Wisconsin.
Okay.
And this was back in about 2017, 18, and it kind of went through 20 with COVID and everything. But there was a pharmacy owner who was helping lead the charge, took it all the way to the end when they had a PBM reform bill with huge bipartisan support. When I say that, if there's 133 people, your elected officials in your state, and 105 of them agree for it, and you have 13,000 patients sign petitions, you think you got a home run. Guess what? The last day, I was told this, I wasn't there, over, well, 2 days, over like 16 or 18 hours, it got stripped and gutted, and they got left with zero. A few months later, that pharmacy owner that helped lead that charge had a 6-figure chargeback coming against his pharmacies, damn near shut them down. And that's what he got for fighting for PBM reform.
And that's why it's so important that we stand up, that we file complaints with our Department of Insurance. We reach out to the senators, legislation. Our voice does matter. And I think Angry Dad is a perfect example of this. He turned one of the most horrible situations I can even imagine. I genuinely, he knows how much I admire his strength. I call him constantly and I'm like, Bill, what you're doing is astounding. But not many people would have that strength. And the fact
I quit my job to do this, basically.
And you're creating this beautiful legacy for your son, because these tactics are killing people. It's not just your son. There's so many people that were scared to speak out and didn't even know that they had the option to speak out.
Well, and like I said, I had started that website called Patient Protector. It's on patientprotector.us. My whole goal of that website is, I want to educate you, get you pissed off or enraged, and I'm going to show you what you can do on my website to make change. Now, I have national campaigns on there. I got some state campaigns on there. It's all going, and a lot of it's click a link, fill out some information, it sends a letter to your legislator. Or like Wisconsin, we have Coles Act, a PBM Reform Act in progress right now in Wisconsin. And we got through our first couple weeks of the bill and getting co-sponsors, and we got 39 co-sponsors, which is pretty damn good for a 2-week time period.
Oh my gosh. In that 1 week, I mean, we worked our butts off to get
for HR 9096, we got that was a national thing. Well, I went boots on ground one day and made 37 visits at my state capitol in one day. That was a tough day. But we picked up co-sponsors, and now we're kind of waiting for some, there's a whole, it's a whole governmental process of legislation. If you ever watched Schoolhouse Rock back in the day, it's got to get through committees and then a bill and then a vote or whatever. But long and short of it, we're on a good forward trajectory as of today. We have some good amount of co-sponsors, and we're waiting for some committee assignments. But that being said, I'm pushing that through my website. I have 687 people I know that sent letters to their elected officials so far. We got 10,000 signatures last year, and we're working for a goal of 20,000 this year.
I was going to say 100,000.
Well, we're going to start to be rational at 20,000, but we do need, I want 1 million. That's what I want. I want 1 million. That's why I did not make this docuseries. It's not mine, but there's some producers out there that made this first episode, and it's in honor of my son, Cole. And that's a fact. And they made it because of Cole. They were hemming and hawing about doing this in fear of retribution. And they said, you know what? It's worth it. We're going to do this to get honor for Cole. Now, I shouldn't talk about Cole, but my true mission, and I actually have a nonprofit I started. It's called Justice for Cole and All Others. That is a legit, that's my LLC, a nonprofit. You go to my website, you can see it on there. Hell, if you want to help donate a little bit, help my mission, I'm not begging for money, I promise you that. This is nothing about money, but if you want to help,
It's about spreading the education.
well,
because
I do need to pay for gas to drive to Missouri. I was in Springfield, Illinois a couple of weeks ago, and the pharmacy associations do help with stuff. But as I was telling Claudia, I do social media. I have programs that I run, the website fees, things like that. I do pay for that, and it's fine. I have no problem doing it. It's for my son. But if you want to help, you can donate right on my website. Just click the link and go. It's just $5 is $5,
Well, and I think one of the kind of craziest things is both you and I came into this without like anything, we just kind of.
Oh, there was I didn't know what a PBM was. I had no idea.
I didn't know they could like decide whether or not something was medically necessary.
Well, who would have thought that somebody could override your doctor?
The company that doesn't even know your favorite color or like how much you weighed at your last visit.
Well, when's the last time they stuck the thermometer in your ear or felt your heartbeat? Nobody at that PBM's done that. There's that person, man or woman, whatever.
We can't even get David Cordani, Andrew Whitty, Kim Keck, any of them to email us back. They just send it to their assistant.
Well, what they do now is they send it to their defamation lawyers and then send cease and desist letters.
It's not defamation. It's not defamation if it's true, though.
Well, that's the thing. They say that there's a lot of
random
false
people.
information or what was it? It was factually incorrect information is what they like to use.
Or there was that one article
ones.
Julie was mentioned in where we're just some random people creating a snowball effect of fake information. And it's like,
hey,
why'd you change the new rule you're going to put in?
Well, and that's the thing about the Modern Medical Mafia docu-series. This is the first episode. Like I said, it's going to explain kind of what we talked about today. There's a couple patient stories in there, and it does explain all the little tactics, the steering, just a whole bunch of stuff. And if you follow along with the series, or if you go to our website today, go down and click on the first episode, he said it's $2.99, $3.
It's fine. Just skip the Starbucks tomorrow. You'll be good.
But it is an educational platform base. So when you get into that platform, you'll watch that movie.
Well, and I've been saying it from the very beginning. The more that we engage with the patients, educate them, the more empowered they're going to feel to stand up against insurance companies. There is no reason healthcare should be denied. Correct. There is no reason Cole should have gone to that pharmacy and then say $500. And when he said no, they should have given him an alternative, not just
hold on, let me see what we can do for you. Or wait a minute, you can't leave without your medicine to breathe. Oh, because it does happen in America.
Oftentimes I've had people even tell me on TikTok that like they're asthmatic and their inhaler is being denied. And it's just, last I checked, just because you haven't had an asthma attack does not mean you don't have asthma.
Yeah, I know.
Don't pay attention.
Oh.
And as always, we have PBMs and, these companies really, really focus hard on trying to distract people from the information we're sharing. So the trolls, man, I could not tell you the number of threats I've gotten.
Oh, I know. I've joined lives with you before, and even on mine, all of a sudden we get reported for inappropriate comments like that are coming across the screen that we can see people asking for illicit drugs or whatnot. And it is what it is. They can go out there, but we firmly believe.
And what we're doing, we advocate for you. We're trying to give you your freedom to choose your pharmacy, to choose your doctor. Why should you, just because the insurance company decides not to reimburse your physician appropriately to where they can keep the doors open, maybe they should go off of quality, not physicians they own, not hospitals where they get more money because they own the hospital.
Well, and even like, the ones that they own, they will, they like still make these decisions that are kind of just crazy. Some of these doctors that are like the medical watchdogs over the PBMs, they haven't practiced in 12 years, 20 years.
Peer-to-peers that we have a pediatrician telling us whether or not a complex patient needs this medication or not. Yeah. Like, it is absolutely insane. And it's kind of, my heart kind of breaks for them because I feel like they had to have came into it with wanting to help people. And somewhere down the line, they were like, I'm not going to be able to, so I'm just going to join the dark side.
Well, and that's just it. I mean, like I said, United Healthcare, for example, once again, I don't know how many.
United Health Cartel, as Julie would say.
I'm sorry, Julie. I hope you're watching, but yeah, they are one of the largest employers of doctors in America. Doctors, medical staff, the whole shit. They
So
own the
logically, do you think they would rather you see a private practice or see one of their physicians?
Exactly. You know, so it's insane. I still encourage you to go watch the Modern Medical.
If there's one thing you take away from this, at least subscribe to all the updates. Sign up for it.
Yeah.
Skip Starbucks tomorrow. We can do it. Let's show Angry Dad that we're rallying behind him, if I can ask one thing, because this man has stood at the gates of hell and he said, no, I'm not standing for this. I'm going to leave my mark and I'm going to leave this beautiful legacy for my son, Cole. And I almost feel as though like I know Cole just from like Angry Dad and I, this is the first time we've actually met in person. And I feel like I've known him for so long, and your strength and your tenacity is admirable, just as Julie's is. I mean, I would have folded up like a lawn chair, and I like to think like I'm a pretty strong person. And you have like what you have created, you've started a movement. Let's be honest.
I believe that. I do. I'm not that I'm not proud. I don't want to use this for fame. That's definitely what I mean. Tell you what, we fix these PBMs, you may never see me again. I don't know, but
you won't ever see me again.
So, but I mean, that's the reality of it. My wife and I are not the normal parents, apparently.
He was a police officer. His wife
many years ago.
She's
been a social worker for over 20 years in various roles, opioid addiction, client management. I mean, like,
they've given their life to helping others, and then when they needed help, the pharmacy turned them away.
Well, and this touched my life twice now, too. I had a brother. His birthday's in 2 days, April 3rd. His name was Andrew. Andrew broke his wrist many years ago. It was about the time opioids came out. He fell into the drug manufacturer and recently discovered PBM game the first time they really played, and he got addicted to opioids, just like a lot of standard Americans did, and couldn't get off. My brother passed away from a drug overdose. I think it was 2018 when that happened. Now, it might even be later. I hate even talking about it.
Well,
so it was
both of us have experienced that. That's something that we've also connected on. Is we've both lost loved ones, and it's not fair. There was no reason for it, and had there been decent people at the lines making the decisions, things would be very, very different.
Correct. So the PBMs have affected my family, my parents, my wife's parents, and millions of people across this country. And we got to stop them, getting justice for my son, and make sure this doesn't happen again to anybody else. And I know that's a broad statement, but I'm going to do whatever I can do. My wife allows me to do this. She's part of this. We both agree on this. She may not be the most vocal, but she's doing her part. Trust me on that. And she's sitting in a healthcare facility today doing her job. We'll just say that. And those patients and the team she oversees are doing the best they can do for their patients, even though they have to deal with these pharmacy benefit managers.
So ideally, I do want to bring up something that's strange. Don't you work for a pharmacy benefit manager?
I did start to work for a pharmacy benefit manager, actually. And but let's just be clear.
It's not your average.
Oh, no. I'm working for where we want pharmacy benefit managers to be.
He's setting a precedent.
So I found a company that is operating like the original pharmacy benefit managers. And then a little bit that they brought in a customer advocate team that takes them to the next level. So not only do they not rip people off, they have full transparency, they also have a team of dedicated professionals that'll make sure that, number one, your formularies that we were talking about that are manipulated by rebates.
Change quarterly?
Yeah. Well, and at our place, we just make sure that they're built properly the first time. We don't care about that rebate money. We don't put preference. We figure out what's the medical necessity that you need, and we make sure that's available to you.
So you don't take out biologics, you don't take out specialty meds to save the plan 7 to 8% like some others?
Yeah, I mean, well, the reality is, and on that right there, if this biologic and there's an alternative biologic, And then if they are equal and they will give the same results, we're going to use the best option on the cost side at that point, but we're going to go for the less expensive option to save that money. But it has to be apple for apple. We're not going to
And we're
force.
not there yet with biologics. Biosimilar is not biosame.
I cannot, obviously we have our HIPAA and all that stuff. I know of some cases in the six figure that we take and cover just because that's what we have to do. Six figures.
They do the right thing.
You know, and there's many places that do that. That's the reality of it. There's so many, there are some good PBMs out there. Remember, we're talking about the top three.
Express Scripts,
OptumRx and
CVS Specialty.
yes.
Hi, welcome to my TikTok. You're watching, it's crazy. But
Uh-huh.
Bill and I have this dream of people being able to get the healthcare that they need without any ifs, ands, or buts.
Yes. And I mean, I do truly believe, and we got to keep lights on at businesses. We got the PBMs do have to make money. There's no doubt.
But they don't have to make 25% of an upcharged copayment.
They don't need $500 billion at the end of the year because they have no production costs to cover anything like that. They're pushing paper.
So I guess as a final statement, what would you say to look out for with PBMs? Since they're not all bad, what would be your first red flag to look out for?
Well, I would just find out, the biggest, gosh, there's just so much. Top three. If your doctor prescribes medication to you at his office, you get your blood pressure checked, it's your weekly, it's your yearly checkup, and he says you're going to take this medicine, and what's your preferred pharmacy? If you walk into your pharmacy and you don't get the medicine that your doctor said you should have, with some rare examples of generic, that would be acceptable. But you don't get what he's saying you should have, he or she is saying what you have. They are making you try this other medicine. That's a red flag. That's called the step process. Step therapy. So if you don't get what your doctor says and you're forced to use another drug that you have to fail on before you can get what your doctor wants you to have, that's a red flag. But if you don't get what your doctor says, I'd be asking questions.
And you can always appeal the decision.
Yes.
And that's where my friend Boris comes in with Get Claimable. He can help you write an appeal from the patient perspective, because the contractual agreement, little do many people know, is between the patient and the insurance company, not the physician. So the patient appeal is stronger than many people even understand. So you could reach out to them. You could reach out to me. You could
hit me up on social media. I'm everywhere. Go to my website.
Angry Dad WI,
Yeah.
Wisconsin. His website's patientprotector.us.
And I have a push the button, leave a whatever, and I check that all the time. I get an email in my regular email box, and if I get someone that needs help, if I can help, I help. If I can't help, I try to find someone that can help.
Right. And then number 2.
If you are told you can't use your local pharmacy anymore and you got to use a online pharmacy, that's called patient steering. They say they don't do it. They were in Washington being investigated, and they, as the top 3 CEOs of the top 3 PBMs, told Congress. Yeah, under oath. You'd see that in the movie, actually. We have that in our docuseries. Or go to my social media. I got some clips of that. But either way, they lied under oath to Congress. They don't steer patients. Remember, I talked about that big tractor company earlier. Can't go with the local farmers anymore. They have to use the online pharmacy. Patient steering. They steer you back to their own pharmacy. That's probably number 2. And I mean, there's just so much. Those would be the best number 3 to really. Those are the 2 most common you're going to see. Don't get what your doctor says. Patient steering. I mean, like those 2 are.
I would say my third one would be if the pharmacy is requiring you to sign up for copay assistance.
Oh, yeah.
Ask questions. And also, you don't have to give them your copay card if it's like a company called Save on SP, who is known.
Save on SP. I've heard of them.
Yeah.
I had. Where did I hear? I mean, I'll be honest.
Johnson & Johnson's suing them.
That's what I was going to say. I thought they were like ripping people off.
Yeah.
I thought they were like a total
allegedly.
scam. Well, this is what allegedly is what I hear, is that they're a total scam. That's what I hear. I don't know if it's true or not, but I don't know. When I go out and buy stuff, I like to look at Better Business Bureau records, do some Google searching, try to really read up on companies to make sure you're not getting ripped off. I'm sure, well, here's the thing. If you know anybody who's using Save On SP, maybe they could ask them. But if they have a bad experience, ask them to report it to the Better Business Bureau or something. That would help us all. That's another one I
report it to the Department of Insurance. If they're trying to tell you, you have to use them because the employer has signed you up for it. You can opt out. The amazing part about patient assistance is the manufacturers have actually done the math to make sure that your copayment's only going to be $5. What they do is then raise the tier of your drug and charge you more than if the manufacturer allows $1,000, they can take a $5 prescription and upcharge it $1,000.
Yeah. Well, and looking at some of the comments, you're absolutely right. People don't know they have the right to ask questions. You do. I want to be clear here too. Don't beat up your pharmacist. They're not the problem. They are the messenger. They're being told by the PBMs to not sell the drug. But you can ask your pharmacist questions, and I know at independent pharmacies, they're going to help you for sure. That's a fact, but
and if you guys live somewhere and you need to know of an independent pharmacy near you, reach out to me. I'll help you find one, because genuinely my experience with my independent pharmacy, Millbrook, is so much better. I walk in there, they know me by name. They're like, here, Claudia, it's a new medication. Do you have any questions? Like, it's just true patient care. And that's what we need to get back, is the physician and the patient relationship. And then you go to the pharmacy, you pick up your prescription, and everyone's reimbursed adequately.
Well, and here's the problem with independent pharmacies right up on front that's happening today. At least one across this country, at least one, and I know my numbers are low, is shutting down today. There'll be one pharmacy at minimum, one pharmacy independent pharmacy closing its doors today. And depending on where that's at, there might have been a pharmacy desert created.
Oh, I was just going to say that. And then there's pharmacy deserts, and the nearest pharmacy you can get to is like an hour away.
Well, I'll talk personal experience here. We live in a small town in Wisconsin. We had a hometown pharmacy in our small town. It shut down last year. Guess what? I can't drive to my town I live in and go to a pharmacy. I got 20 minutes this way or 40 minutes that way. I'm not young. I have a car.
Oh, he's young.
I can make that commute because we drive into work and things like that. However, our town has retirement communities and may have people that get rides to the little pharmacy in town or have a daughter drop them off. Now they got at least a 40-minute round trip minimum to go get it. I visited a pharmacy that was shut down last year in a small town in Wisconsin, Randolph, Wisconsin. It was one of the oldest pharmacies in Wisconsin. And rumor has it was one of the first pharmacies in Wisconsin that had a female pharmacist. Yep, shut down last year. Couldn't afford to stay in business.
326 pharmacies have closed since January 1st, allegedly.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
It's insane. Oh yeah, I know. I was going to say, I know who's telling us that. That is true. That is the truth.
So he's had to open. He owns an independent pharmacy, lost $88,000 just filling prescriptions. And now has a durable medical equipment. He sells Medicare Part D. He delivers Amazon packages and delivers medication just to make up for the $88,000 that he lost, making sure patients got what they needed.
Well, and that the gentleman, can we say his name? I don't want to. Jason, I'm sorry. Hey, the reality is Jason's one of many pharmacies doing that. Have you ever walked into a pharmacy? I used to get mad. Actually, my wife would go in there because she'd buy all the trinkets and shit.
I buy
all the cards. And now, Jesus Christ, I tell her, you go to their shop now. I didn't know why they were doing that other than whatever. But I learned about this stuff. And it's not because they want to sell all that stuff. They have to. They have to do it to survive. And that's crazy.
And for the longest time, they've had gag clauses. Like those who have nothing to hide nothing at all. So if you have a gag clause, what are we hiding?
Yes. There's another, that's just another crazy one, gag clause. I believe Missouri actually has problems with gag clauses, and that's part of their fight in Missouri right now. I wonder
if it's because we're the home of Express Scripts.
Really?
Home of Express Scripts, yeah.
Minnesota gets Optum, you guys get Express Scripts. Wow.
So, Bill, thank you so much for stopping on your way here. Like, I am so honored to finally have him on our podcast. We've been trying to arrange this forever. Our first interaction, I was at a conference and he was on my TikTok live and I go, you know what, Angry Dad, CVS was
Oh,
engraving
that was
cups.
great. I didn't bring the cup.
CVS was engraving cups, and I go up there and I was like, I'll get you one. And I go, could you do Angry Dad? And the guy goes, I don't know if it's gonna fit. And I was like, go ahead. His son died because of PBM. We need PBM reform. And they just sat there, and the CVS people started circling me, and I was just like, do 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 do, and that was how we became besties.
Oh yeah, good. Julie brought it to me up in Minneapolis when we were visiting OptumRx that one day.
Yes. So we don't see this fight ending anytime soon, but we're not going to shut up anytime soon. If you guys want a voice to help share yours, I would be happy to be your voice. And I know Bill would be happy to be your voice.
You know, I'm not as famous on TikTok or any of that stuff as Miss C Money here. I get a couple people here and there that listen to what I say. So you follow both of us, you'll hear a lot of stuff out there. You'll see where I'm across the country. Like I said, I was in Illinois last week. I'm here, might be Minnesota, Virginia, maybe South Carolina, a few different states. If you know a state that's fighting PBM reform and needs some help, get a hold of me.
I'll come too.
And we've got resources on my website to start state campaigns.
Patientprotector.us. Patientprotector.us. Go there, watch the docuseries.
Yeah, sign up for the docuseries homepage, scroll down, click the button, and get the first episode of the Modern Medical Mafia.
Yep, and you can send us messages. Thank you so much for
what is that right there? Is that
I'm in to go anywhere. Let me know if you're all in Alabama. We have
Alabama's struggling right now, aren't they? A little bit.
They have no protections.
Actually, I know I was scheduled to be in Mississippi this weekend at a little event, and it just didn't work out. I will 100% probably be in Mississippi and all that stuff very soon. But I want to, just reach out to me on social media. Send an email, do a little email, patientprotector@gmail.com, whatever. Let me know if you need help. I will help. Tomorrow, I'll be in Jefferson City
yes.
At the Missouri Pharmacist Legislative Day. If you see me around there, say hi, share a number, and I'll help you.
I run up and give him a hug. He is so great, and the legacy he's leaving is inspirational to everyone. Genuinely, subscribe to him, watch his TikToks. He is taking a stand and helping people and making sure healthcare is not denied. So again, thank you guys for tuning in to Don't Back Down, and we'll see you soon.
Well, thanks for having me on. This is great. Good to give me a hug here. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.